What is up, Lighthouse Middle School? How you guys doing? Hope you guys are having a fantastic Wednesday. Wherever you are, I'm glad you're there. Connecting with your leaders, sharing with one another. I think it's great, and I'm glad you're there. A couple of announcements, quick things before we get into our lesson. If you and your group haven't scheduled your Bigger, Better, Best challenge, which I think most of your groups have. If you haven't done it yet, you've at least scheduled it. This is an opportunity for you and your group to spend time together. You will start with a quarter, and you will head out into the community. You will knock on people's doors, and you will try to trade up to the best thing that you can find. And then you'll bring it, your group will bring it to youth group on the first Wednesday in October, which is the next time we meet all together here at church in 2 weeks. And then the team with the best thing wins the challenge, and they get a little pizza party for themselves. So get involved, do the Better Best Challenge. Looking forward to seeing what you guys are able to scrounge up. A couple of QR codes for you guys to scan. When we meet all together at church on that Wednesday, the first Wednesday in October, I will do kind of a Q&A session based off of the questions that you guys submit to this form. And the topic is on friendships. So anything that has to do with friendships. How do you make friends? How do you be a good friend? How do you help your friends? Whatever it is, I'd love to talk about it. And so it's an anonymous form, so I won't know who submitted the question unless you put your name. But I'd love to answer your questions so that we can continue to talk about this very important topic of friendship that we've been talking about all month long. And this is a QR code that you can scan for devotional on the Bible app, which if you don't have that downloaded, this would be a great time to do that. And this is a reading plan, 28 little readings about friendship from the Bible based around the topic that we're talking about this month. So you don't have a ton of time left, so definitely go ahead and scan it. And before we kind of get into a new topic in a couple weeks. But this will help you to develop the habit of reading your Bible. You can set a little reminder on your phone to remind you to read. Maybe it's 7:30 at night once you're home and you're like, oh, I know I'm going to have time to read my Bible, and my phone's going to notify me and I'll read, and that's a great way to do it, or whatever time of day works best for you. You can set it to give you a little notification to remember to read the Bible, because that's part of what we as Jesus followers do. We read his words so that we can know him, we can know what he wants of us. We can know who we are. We can see his love and his power. And so it's a good habit to get into. So if you haven't, scan the QR code and start to develop that habit. And we are going to get into our lesson for this evening. So welcome back to Stick Together, where we're talking about the sometimes perilous adventure that is friendship. For the last few weeks, we've been talking about the kind of friends we want to stick with in both good times and bad. The really, really good friends. But what is a good friend? Maybe it's someone that you laugh with, someone you vent with, have fun with. Maybe it's someone who gets you and makes you feel really understood. What do you think? What is a good friend? We're going to take 30 seconds, answer that question. Ready, set, go. Good, great friends, of course, they exist, right? But we all know no friendship is perfect, not even the ones in the movies. And have you ever seen Jungle Cruise? If you're not familiar, here's the deal. Frank is a fearless riverboat captain, and he ends up guiding Lily, a determined explorer, on a dangerous jungle expedition to uncover an ancient secret. Here's how their friendship got started. Check it out.
It just came out.
Now, all that's pretty impressive, right? Sure, until you kind of actually find out that the whole thing is staged. That tiger, it's basically Frank's very large pet cat. You can imagine how Lily might have felt when she discovered the whole fight was a scam. And they didn't get off to a great start, but over time, they kind of begin to trust each other, and they become pretty good friends. They learn to start trusting each other. But deception isn't really a great way to start a friendship, and it's definitely not a good way to maintain one either. So later on, when Lily believes Frank is lying again, she ends up kind of losing it. She takes off ready to complete the quest all on her own. I want to tell you, they do reconcile after she storms off. And they have their disagreements and their issues, and what friendship doesn't, right? I've been there, you've been there, we've all been there. Some friendships fade, but some friendships, the really good ones, are too valuable to throw away when things get tough. Sometimes it's hard to tell when we're set if a friendship is really worth it or not. We turn our back on good friendships too soon. We don't know how to fix things when good friendships go wrong. We miss out on the kind of deep, strong, worthwhile friendships you only get by sticking it out when you think you want to walk away. And friendships can get complicated, tense, and difficult. So when do you know when to walk away and when to keep going? And we shared just a few moments ago some quick ideas about what makes a good friend. We're going to spend a little bit more time with it here. What is a good friend? I want you to write down your ideas on your note sheet in just a moment. What are good friends like? What do good friends do? What do good friends not do? What would let you know a good friend is worth fighting for? So I'm going to give you a little bit of time here. I want you to write down answers to some of those questions on your note sheet. What makes a good friend? Now, I'm sure you've written down some really great answers to some of those questions. But if you're like me and you're comparing your current friends to that list, maybe you're thinking something like, man, my friends are the best. Or maybe something like, oops, some of my friends I thought were great are maybe a little less good than I thought. Or maybe if this is what it means to be a good friend, I'm not sure I'm a good friend. It's not easy to find good friends or build good friendships, is it? Things get confusing when we find ourselves at odds with the friends we thought were good friends. We might be fighting with a friend because they upset us, even though we know they might be right. They hurt us, we're not sure how to forgive them. We don't see eye to eye with them on something, we're not sure how to move forward. Or maybe we're not exactly fighting with a friend at the moment, but things have just gotten awkward for some reason. We're just not as close as we used to be. And it's hard to know how to handle conflict with our friends, right? Thankfully, the book of Proverbs gives us tons of wisdom to help us. There are a lot of verses we could look at. I'm going to read one verse I really love, and we're going to think about what it means for us to be good friends. This is going to be on page 323 here. So you look for big number 27, and then follow it down to small number 17. It's on page 323. It says, as iron sharpens iron, so a friend sharpens a friend. And if you've ever tried to use a dull knife to cut something, you might know how hard it is. Unless you're using it to spread butter, a dull knife is pretty annoying. Not to mention it can actually be kind of dangerous, which sounds kind of weird, but Google it. Trying to cut stuff with dull knives can kind of mess you up. My point is, no one wants to be a dull knife. And I know you don't because you're at group right now. You want to grow, you want to get better, and you want to be sharper. And if you swipe two iron knives against each other with the right technique, both knives actually get sharper. So if you're a knife and you want to get sharper, you can't just spread butter all day. You're going to need to make contact with people who are made of the same stuff as you. So what does that proverb mean? It means that the right friendships can help everyone in that friendship grow. But here's the thing about knife sharpening. There's friction involved. In friendship, the friction you could face might be conflict, disagreement, hurt feelings, maybe you misunderstand each other, maybe there's just a challenge you're going through. We've all faced those things in friendship. When we do, it's worth asking, is this friend a good friend? Are we made of the same stuff? How is this friction maybe going to make us both sharper? And does this person actually want to get sharper, or do they just kind of want to fight? Or maybe that's me. Maybe I just kind of want to fight. And in friendship, disagreements and friction happen. Sometimes you're wrong. Sometimes your friends are wrong. Most of the time, you probably both are wrong a little bit. But in godly friendships, disagreement doesn't have to separate us. It can actually make you both better if you're willing to fight for one another and not just against one another. And remember the friends that we talked about in week 1? We had Priscilla and Aquila, Apollos and Paul. They're great examples of a friend group. Through their friendship, they influenced each other for the better and then influenced the whole world for Jesus together. But of course, each of these friends had their own friends outside of that group. And if you've ever had to navigate friends from different groups, you know it's not always easy to keep the peace. So this is in the book of Acts. A little farther back, this is going to be on page 545 if you're in this book. So you look for big number 15 and then kind of follow it down to small number 36, and then we'll read to 41. It says, after some time, Paul said to Barnabas, another one of his friends, let's go back and visit each city where we previously preached the word of the Lord to see how the new believers are doing. So they're going to encourage the people that they'd shared the gospel of Jesus with. Barnabas agreed and wanted to take along John Mark. But Paul disagreed strongly, since John Mark had deserted them in Pamphylia and had not continued with them in their work. Their disagreement was so sharp that they separated. Barnabas took John Mark with him and sailed for Cyprus. Paul chose Silas, and as he left, the believers entrusted him to the Lord's gracious care. And they traveled throughout Syria and Cilicia, strengthening the churches there. So, good friends, as we can see here, they don't always agree. Paul and Barnabas disagreed about whether or not they should bring another friend, John Mark, on their journey. Paul had already decided he wasn't really a fan because John had previously deserted them when they needed him. And the disagreement was so sharp they decided to split up. Barnabas went with John Mark in one direction, Paul went with Silas in another direction. For a while, they all kept doing great things for the Lord, but they were doing it separately. We don't know all the details of what happened after that, but we're going to check out this letter that Paul wrote a little bit later. It talks about John Mark again. I'm going to read from the book of 2 Timothy, chapter 4, verse 11. This is on page 589. So you look for big number 4 and then follow it down to small number 11. Paul says, only Luke is with me, but bring Mark with you when you come, for he will be helpful to me in my ministry. And those guys, Paul and John Mark, were in such a big fight that they went to completely different cities to get away from each other. But in the end, they reconciled. They decided their friendship, the mission God had given them to share the news of what Jesus has done for the world on the cross, that was worth fighting for. And conflict, difficulty, disagreement, and healthy friendships can make you both better and wiser if you let God lead you through them. So when a friendship gets difficult, don't just give up. First, ask if God is trying to teach you both something or help you both grow through the difficulty, because good friends are worth fighting for. And we made that list together of what it means to be a good friend. But truly good friendships require both friends to be good friends. So that means we got to ask ourselves, am I the kind of friend who can sharpen others? We're going to take a moment and try to imagine how some of your friends might see you. What goodness do they see when they're around you? What areas of growth do they see? Do they know you as someone who will fight for them or someone who gives up? Which of these characteristics of a good friend do you want to do a better job of practicing? And if you are thinking through that a little bit and you're feeling kind of discouraged or maybe a little self-critical, let me encourage you. Every knife needs sharpening sometimes. Doesn't mean that you're broken or that you're a bad friend. It just means that you have room to grow, like we all do. And that's exciting because that's exactly what good friends want to help each other to do. So next time you find yourself in some friction with a friend, I want you to pause. Okay, don't panic, okay? No friendship is without conflict. In fact, if you've never had conflict with a friend, your friendship may not be sharpening as much as you maybe would want it to. So first you pause, and then you reflect. You probably got a list of reasons why you're right and they're wrong, but maybe you take a moment and just look at it from their perspective. How might you have gotten it wrong? What might you be able to learn from them? Is there something underneath the argument that matters more than what you are fighting about? And when you just ask God how you can learn and grow from the tension you're experiencing. Maybe talk to a wise person that you trust to help you think through it, how to address things with your friend. And then you just gotta try, right? You can't fix it all on your own, but you can take a tiny step to try and repair things. Maybe ask if they want to chat, maybe shoot a text, maybe change something that you're doing, or just give them a kind word to let them know that you care and you care about the friendship. And if this friendship is worth fighting for, we don't want to quit too soon. And when you have a friend who you know is worth it, make sure that you stick together because good friends are worth fighting for. All right, that's what I got for you guys this evening. We're going to switch it over to small groups. Love you guys. I'll see you when I see ya.